Chapter 13 in Gulliver's Travels, The Voyage to Laputa. I had two more wondrous voyages before ending my travels. The first was to a strange land called Laputa. Laputa was an island that floated through the sky. Its people had heads that were tilted sharply to one side. Probably like that. One eye looked up and the other looked down. Well, even more tilted than that. Everyone was a nervous wreck because they constantly worried about the end of the world. They were afraid the earth would plunge into the sun. They were afraid it would be caught in a comet's tail. They were afraid the sun would burn out. They were so afraid that they couldn't sleep. I told them stories of my travels, but the little Laputans didn't care about the laws, governments, religion, or manners of the people I had met before. They were only interested in mathematics. The kingdom below Laputa was called Bolnabarbi. When I flew there and I was lowered to the ground on a rope. My guide was a man named Munodi. The first people I met wore rags and were very poor. They had a wild look on their faces and they always stared straight ahead. There wasn't a single blade of grass or an ear of corn growing anywhere in Bolnabarbi because the soil was so poor. However, a short distance away, their countryside changed from barren to beautiful. Grassy meadows, green vineyards, and neat houses stretched as far as the eye could see. These lands belonged to the king, Munodi said. I thought so, I said. Would you like to see the academy? Munodi asked. It's where the most brilliant scientists in the kingdom work. That sounds interesting, I said. The academy had many large buildings filled with people working on very odd projects. Munodi explained them to me. This man is extracting sunbeams from cucumbers, Munodi said. He will store them in vials. When the weather is bad, he'll let them out. We moved to the next laboratory where a man was trying to build a house from a roof down. It's the way spiders do it, the scientist said. Outside, Munodi showed me a man herding pigs. He has invented a new way to plow, Munodi said. He buries thousands of acorns in the field, and then he lets the pigs loose. The field gets plowed when the pigs dig in the dirt looking for the nuts. If they're looking for nuts, I can tell them where to look, I said, glancing at the academy. Here's a wonderful project, Munodi said. We peered into a room where a man fed colored flies to spiders. When the spiders weave their webs, it will be colorful, just like silk, the scientist said. We visited a scientist writing on crackers. When people eat the crackers, they will learn what is written on them, he said proudly. It's a wonderful way to learn. Here's our grandest project, Munodi said. It's the perfect way to settle arguments. When two people disagree, the tops of their heads are sawed off. Each top is attached to the other head, and it should end the arguments forever. That's not all it will end, I said. Everything I saw convinced me that this was a very strange place, and I decided to return to England. I set sail a few days later and was happy to get back home. We're going to go ahead and read chapter 14 because that was super short. Chapter 14 is a voyage to Hohun. My final voyage began a few months later. I was offered the position of a captain on a ship, and I gladly accepted. My ship was captured by pirates. Then I was abandoned on a beach to fend for myself. I had no idea where I was. I turned inland to search for signs of life, and I soon found a well-worn path covered with horses' hoofs prints. Nearby, sitting in a tree watching me, was a group of very strange-looking creatures. One jumped down from the tree and walked over to me. What a disagreeable-looking fellow, I said to myself. He is disgusting. The creature put out his hand to shake mine. I drew my sword and smacked him with its flat side, and he roared in anger as the others rushed to his aid. I was no match for the long-legged creatures. I prepared to defend my life. Suddenly the creatures stopped, and their eyes turned white with fear. They spun on their heels, and they ran away. What could have scared them so, I wondered. And I turned around. A dapple-gray horse walked towards me. It's only a horse, I said with a sigh of relief. The horse stopped in front of me. It bobbed its head up and down as if looking me over. When I reached out to pet him on the nose, he turned his head away as if I had offended him. He pushed my hand aside with his front hoof and neighed as if he were talking to himself. Another horse joined him, and they stood side by side, neighing softly to one another. If I didn't know better, I would say they were talking about me, I thought. They must be magicians in disguise. I looked the dapple gray in the eye. If you are magicians, please help me. I am an Englishman, abandoned on your coast by pirates. May I ride on your back to safety? The horses shuddered. They continued talking back and forth, and I heard the word Yahoo many times. Yahoo, I said. Hoin, the horse replied. The horses led me down the path to a log building with a dirt floor. Inside was a manger filled with freshly cut hay. They nudged me into the small room. Oh, great heavens, I exclaimed. It's filled with creatures like those I saw in the tree. 100 long-legged creatures sat on the floor eating raw roots. Their limbs looked just like mine, I said. The gray horse nodded. Yahoo, he said. The creatures were yahoos. The gray horse nudged me toward a pile of roots like those the yahoos were eating. You don't expect me to eat those, I said. I suddenly realized the horses thought I was a yahoo. It was the shock of my life. In a few weeks, I knew enough of the hoo-hum language to talk with the horses. We are hoo-hums, the gray horse said. Tell us about yourself. I am an Englishman, I said. I come from a land where the yahoos rule and the horses are used to pull carriages and plows. I told him everything I could think of. We use war to settle arguments, and we make guns and bullets to do our killing. The rich have all the money, and the poor have none. We have many criminals and— Stop, the gray horse shouted. I have heard enough. Your yahoos are just like ours. If you throw enough food for 50 yahoos into the room, the stronger ones take it all and leave none for the others. You are different, but you are still a yahoo. I refused to admit that I was a yahoo until one day a female yahoo winked at me. It's true, I said sadly to myself. I am a yahoo. The gray horse became my master, and I lived in his house for 3 years. I made my own clothes and bread and enjoyed the Hohum's country. They lived together in peace, and they were very honest. They had no evil thoughts, and everything they did was governed by reason. Their main rules were friendship and kindness. One day my master entered my room. I have bad news, he said. The council is upset because I let you live in my house. Either I treat you like an ordinary yahoo, or you have to go back to your country. I like your country, I said, but I will leave. I will build a boat and sail home immediately. I set to work at once. Soon I had a sturdy boat stocked with food and ready to sail. My master came to the beach to wish me good luck. I will miss you, Yahoo, he said. I will miss you too, I replied. My eyes filled with tears as I launched my small craft and I set sail for England. After many days at sea, I spied an island inhabited by European yahoos. I would rather live with your barbarians than live with yahoos, I said. I hid in a cave on an abandoned island where no one could find me. Unfortunately, a boat full of sailors came ashore one day. They found me and carried me to their ship. I don't want to live with yahoos, I screamed. The sailors roared with laughter. He is neighing just like a horse, one said. The sailors took me aboard their ship. We docked in England a few weeks later, and that was the end of my final voyage. I have sailed all over the world, and I have seen many strange and wonderful things. This book is the true story of my travels. Captain Lemuel Gulliver. The end. And that is the end of the book, Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift.